Lancescurv. I was supposed to do 2 shows earlier, but I ran around so much. And as you well know, with the tasks and projects that we have, that can happen sometime. And I promised also, which I will do tomorrow, the show on monitoring spirits. Monitoring spirits. I have not forgotten, Earth Angel, about monitoring spirits. We touched on it before on the old channel, and it was a pretty good show. And I have more insight on that topic, and I will rehash some of the things that we spoke on before. So I have not forgotten. Whenever a request is made, we never forget. So that being said, let's move forward with this. And it's going to upset many people, but from what I hear, we do have freedom of speech, but we know that that's becoming more and more of a joke. But we also have to understand that on these social media platforms, it may look public, but they're owned privately. It is not a public space. It is not a space that we can speak on and let it all hang out in a respectful manner, in an intellectual manner. The bottom line is that someone controls what goes on there. Now, if we can think about a few years ago when we had to wear the masks, okay? I'm speaking in code now, because if I get too specific, those who control these platforms don't like it. I'm not scared of them, but they don't like it. And I'd rather be heard in a coded way than to be shut down because people don't want to hear what I see is my perspective. I'm not even going to say the truth. I'm not up here to say that everything I speak is the truth and I know everything. No, I'm very humble that way. I'm going to speak and I'm not afraid, but you have to be shrewd, because there are a lot of minefields out here to stop you, because they don't want your vibration and your frequency to resonate with others. They do not want that. Just want to say welcome on in, Gifty Sine, Renee Green, Giant Gain, Willie Rivers, Sweet D. Oh man. Now, past this point, if I miss anybody that comes in, forgive me, and I'm going to kind of zone out, and I want to read something that I jotted down, and I want to share some collective thoughts on actual fact on top of my perspective, and we're going to have a good time tonight. I don't know how long this is going to last, because this is kind of late for me, and I didn't get settled into even maybe about 2.5 hours ago. And from when I woke up this morning, I was running. I mean, I was traveling all over Accra, going to different stores, checking certain things out. And guess what? It's Sunday and I was still doing that. Not that Sunday is any other different day, but usually I wouldn't expect to be running so hard, right? And like I said, it's all part of the game. Yes, of course, exactly, Giant Gain. Giant Gain says nothing wrong with moving strategically, because there's a lot of spell casting out here. And you know, when you throw that stone, it's the hit dog that always yelps and barks and cries. And there are a lot of hit dogs out here, because on top of what people can see, there's a world out there that is so interconnected, and we see a small percentage of it. And it's so soothing. It's so comforting to be in the comfort zone of ignorance and mind control, that anybody who wants to pull the covers off of it to see what's going on under the covers, they don't like it now because the cold room is affecting them. But that cold room is reality. And from what I'm seeing, hey, listen, I'm only speaking my mind, and I'm not doing it in a venomous manner. I'm just as calm. But these days, they will say you're scathing, inflammatory, just because you have a difference of opinion. But is it really just an opinion when you can speak on the facts that have gone on? I'm not going to make this just a political thing, because I'm going to speak on different levels. We do have different levels, right? But so many people have said that Donald Trump is going to bring this whole thing back when he says, make America great again. Yes, we never really had it as Black people great in America, but they speak on what he will do and what she will do, who has the horns here on the banner. And they forget that he had 4 years in office. And did he do these things? Now, nobody moves in a perfect manner, but it seems as though we kind of forget. So I just want to remind everybody through these talking points what's going on here. Now, is it to say that Donald Trump has been perfect and said everything perfect? No. Is this some type of pro-Trump rally? I'm not going to say that. All I'm going to say is going to be a rally of facts. And you be the judge. And don't get mad at me when you can't pull up something in favor of this horn-headed woman here. Okay? So I want to speak on something really quick. Some may understand it, some may not. Let's just say the Bible says this world belongs to the devil. Now, we're not going to say a devil with horns, maybe, but there are entities on a negative level that inhabit the earth. And with all of the killing, all of the crazy things going on right now, whether you're religious or not, I don't care about religion. I really don't base my opinion on any individual by the religion that they follow, right? Because religion is like a crutch for a broken foot or a broken leg. And you are to use those crutches until you become strengthened to the point where you don't need the crutch anymore. Okay? So when I say crutch, I'm not putting anybody down. Religion is a good thing when you realize that you don't have to walk around with the crutch all your life, because now if you come into a place of an ascended spirituality, then you don't need the crutch no more. How would I look walking around with the crutch if I healed up from a broken leg 6 months ago? The crutch would get in the way now, wouldn't it? How would it look like if there were a plain runways? Say I was flying from New York to Dallas, and there was a runway going all the way to Dallas, Texas. Then the plane can taxi its way all the way down to Dallas, Texas, and take a long time to get there. The runway only goes for a certain time period. Okay? Welcome on in, Reese. Yes, indeed. I see you over there. I'm trying to catch everybody when they come in. So the plane has to take flight after a short time. So we are to take flight from the religion, which is basically man-made and so-called God-inspired. But we're supposed to ascend beyond that to see the universal truth of who we are as human beings, and to take it a step higher, HUE-MAN. That's the problem that certain people have with us. Because of the hue, it's indicative of what's potentially inside. And I say potentially because we're not living up to the standard of the hue that we've been gifted. And this is the problem in the world right now, because those who are of a lower vibration want to make a mockery of those who have the spiritual gifts and insights and who are the mother and father of all civilization. They got a problem with that. So now they broadcast us in a lowered state. They love when we indulge ourselves in decadence so they can say, look at those NIGGs. Look at them NIGGs. They ain't better than anybody. They're the lowest of the low. And what's sad about it is that so many people of us, we go for it and we get rewarded for it. Hence, Megan Thee Stallion twerking and dancing in a situation where she's to support this woman, right? And so we go out for anything. All you have to do is have a barbecue All you got to do is come around and kiss a few black babies and bring some turkeys to us at Thanksgiving while we're suffering. And when the last piece of turkey is digested, we're still in the same sorry state of affairs. So that first line in what I want to read, but the Bible says this world belongs to the devil. Don't twist it around and say, well, you're talking about a man with horns. And I know Kamala Harris doesn't have horns in her head, but it would be much easier for those to understand what she's all about if she did. And some people with this illustration, they're going to give it a thumbs down, but YouTube doesn't show how many thumbs down it is. And I would hope that now with this particular show and this video, that I would have more thumbs down than thumbs up to show the effectiveness of this bomb on the mind of the mind controlled of the Demon-Cratic spellcasters. Are you mind controlled under the Demon-Cratic spellcasters? See, this thing has permeated into personal relationships now. People who are cool with each other. You know, you can have a difference of opinion and perspective, but if you do, at least be able to explain it. At least be able to say, I'll take this devil over Trump as long as it's not Trump. Well, go back on Trump's record and see what it is that he did as opposed to this woman who was a person who failed looking over the borders, letting everybody in, all this crap. Well, I'm going to get to that. But I'm going to read this. And I'm going to start with the first line again. But the Bible says this world belongs to the devil. It does say that, and that's why in the Bible, Jesus was crucified. The battle of good versus evil and the bad people are not humans. They are disguised in human bodies. This is how it's possible. And the masses of people are like the dream, which are hollow, because this was a dream. Bodies without souls, like peanut shells without peanuts inside. This was the dream. Only 10%. And right now, I believe I should reduce that number. Well, let's just say only 10% of the world are real people with souls. Imagine that. Let's just stop there. You see the bodies. You see the people. Good morning. How are you? I had a good weekend. Yeah, we're going to go out to the restaurant tonight. So you think they're human? They can move like a human, look like a human, but many of those who were human and who were never human, see, the ones who are never human inside, like the shells without the peanuts on the inside, they were never human. But it's my perspective and my opinion that many who have been human have been gutted because they allowed this mind-controlled propaganda under not just the Demon-Cratic spellcasters, but all the spellcasters. So not only is the elitist agenda being played out in politics, it's played out everywhere else, but we can't say these things. You see, if you had a YouTube channel or have one or had one, and you say something against wearing the mask, the WHO, you know what that is. If you don't know, and you must be sleeping under a rock, that organization who works in tandem tight with YouTube, that if you say anything bad or of a different opinion outside of the agenda that they were putting out there for us to suck up, just like when you have that barbecue chicken and nobody else is looking at you and the sauce is so sweet and you take the finger and this thing is so good. But we suck this stuff up and we internalize it. And I believe many of us who were human but not standing strong on our spirituality have lost it. Just like the movies, when you see somebody over a cliff held up by one hand, And the enemy comes and he just knows he got you. And he's taking his foot and squeezing your fingers as you look eye to eye. And you know, if he crushes your hand, it's over with. But the episode ends there, and there's a part 2, which lets you know you can't have a 2-second part 2. There's more to come. I also believe that these entities feast on fear. The news that puts out negativity all day long, these displays of, and it's real, the wars and rumors of wars. Well, we have to isolate ourselves and know that those of us who are living righteous, that we're going to make it. Those who run behind the Pied Piper of the propaganda, they're not going to make it. And the people that you've known all your life, or even just a few years, who you know have common sense, they're speaking in a way that it's like they don't have common sense. You remember the old Batman and Superman movies, and even the comic books? Not so much Batman, but when you shoot a gun at Superman's chest, the bullets bounce off. So when you shoot common sense and logic and facts at these people who you felt were so close, but they look at you like you're a stranger and they can't believe you're speaking in what they would call such an inflammatory way. And you look at them and say, did I even know this person? Did I ever know this person? You see what I mean? So this is what it is. Only 10% of the world are real people with souls. The other 10%, or actually 90%, or just 10%, let's just say that, are demons roaming the earth in human bodies. And the other 80% human body shells without souls inside. They don't question anything. They don't think of anything. They're educated to a point, but they're not intelligent to use their brains on an independent manner. Whatever's told to them, they're like program bots. I was watching a program on YouTube, and I watch many things that don't even overlap the type of stuff I talk about, so I can be armed with some knowledge to know how things work. And in this program, there were 2 Caucasian men speaking on a live stream, and they basically said that the people who are online, just navigating, leaving comments, just vibing with other people who may be strangers to a point, they don't realize that they're dealing with bots that are not real. Program bots that act like a person, speak like a person, and are programmed for a certain purpose. So when you look at this flood of Kamala Harris propaganda, and it's emotional stuff, you see, when you get emotional, you don't think logically. And there's so much of it. And I believe that the algorithms have been changed and engineered to aim at certain people because they need our vote. So we're flooded with all of this stuff. When in actuality, many of us don't even deal with politics. Many of us don't even want to see this woman. Many of us are against what she stands for. And before a person who doesn't understand where I'm coming from, just give me a chance to speak. And this is the problem with us. We don't speak in a logical manner. We don't detach our emotions. And this is why many of us cannot grow. Many of us are stagnant, just like the promises of politicians, that 4 years later, you jumped up and down like they were the answer to all of your woes, the answer to all of your issues, the answer to all of your challenges. I don't want to say problems. I'll say challenges because I know I'm a champion and I'm here to surmount any challenge. Problems make you just want to sit down on the curb and be defeated. No, I refuse problems because I'm a winner. And that's why many of these witches out here can't stand it, because this is more common than you could ever imagine. The witchery, the spiritual manipulation on your mind, where many people who have known to be sensible don't even want to sit down and talk about certain things. And my world is not dominated by thoughts of Kamala Harris. No, But when it comes down to it, it's quite obvious. So I'm very interested in seeing what the comments are. And I will say, if you give me a scathing comment, I'm not going to be mad at you. It means I hit home. When the doctor gives you a shot, not one of those shots, but from back in the day, I'm just using this as an example. He knows that he got through when you go, ooh, because you felt it. So if you're feeling it and you take the time to write a book in the comments section, I know you pissed off. It's something. And all I'll say to that is living well is the best revenge toward those demons. I don't mean you have to have a Rolls Royce. I don't mean you have to have a 5-story mansion on the side of a mountain. No, but living well in your mind, no matter what the challenges are in your world, in your life, no matter how many, look, we all have things on us. We wake up sometime happy and in bliss, and sometimes we get a phone call with something negative or something tragic, and then it throws us off. So if you can maintain a sense of balance in this mad world, you're doing good. You can be on the public transportation and not even have a car, but you're doing better than that one who has so much. But then what is better? We're not getting into comparing here, but we need to see ourselves as individuals, because these things that are pushed to us in the algorithm to make us think a certain way, that we're in danger, or we're in danger if we don't vote for this person. Why are they pushing us so much? And we can go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into that. But I'm going to continue. And the other 80% are human body shells without souls inside. They are neither good or evil. They are just empty. But they are the majority who seemingly vote for things like this and accept things like this in the Olympics. Come on, y'all. You saw what happened in the Olympics with the 2 boxers who were supposed to be female. Now they say that the one that many claim was a male is a female with high levels of testosterone, right? Then if they have that high level, where did it come from? Some say it was a born male in the operation. We don't know what's going on between the legs of that thing, but you saw and you see the imagery and you know something's not right. Now, not to change the subject, I just want to put this thought in everybody's head. In African culture, Alkebulan, in the motherland where I live right now in Ghana, traditionally, and there might be little spotty areas, but traditionally, the sanctity of womanhood was greatly respected. Now, don't go digging for some information on some tribe that maybe did something or beat their women or whatever and say that's the majority, because we got a lot of propaganda out there. Womanhood. We don't understand that there's a massive attack on womanhood because these devils, demonic people, the so-called elite, which they are not elite. The righteous are elite, but the world calls them elite. And they're punks. They hide behind elections and telling people what to do, giving weaponry to both sides of a war. And when the country destroys itself, they come in with a solution and take the resources, and we fall for it every time. But the sanctity of womanhood in African culture is a thing. It has great power. And see, these demonic entities who hide behind the headlines and the politicians and all that goes on that way, they don't like nature. If you go out into the woods, wherever you are, even myself, when I go out into my yard, there's greenery all over the place. So even if I leave my yard and walk down the side of the mountain, and really walk down the side of the mountain and look at the high mountains and the mountain ranges that go on for miles and miles, and the tranquil feel that it gives me because I'm in nature. That's God. And when I say God, I don't mean it in a European sense. I've got to keep on talking this way and letting you know I'm talking about the true essence of the Creator that's inside of us and shows us through nature the lessons that are divine. So you mean to tell me the so-called, and I say so-called, not to put them down. We know the book has been tampered, but there's a real thing to it. Whether you want to believe it or not, or say it's fake or not, look, that's a great book. It's been tampered with. We understand that. But you mean the prophets of the Bible can get a revelation? They can catch a download, and I can't, but I got the God inside of me as long as I strive to ascend? Huh? No, we all are connected. If that God is our Father, then we should have a direct relationship. Those of us who have or had fathers or a father figure, couldn't you walk up to them and say, Daddy or Father? Could be an uncle, right? Maybe the uncle raised you. Can I have 25 cents for an ice cream cone when Mr. Softy comes down the block and then you hear it, which is a song you need to look into if you happen to be melanated and Black African. That song was not for us. I'm going to put it in the community section of this channel when I find it again, and I want you to hear the words. Many of you already know that, right? But the attack on womanhood, when you see boxing matches like that, and they sanction it in the Olympics, and you see something so diametrically opposed to the religious figures of the Bible and the Last Supper, everything in the Olympics, who ordained that? Who said, let's do this and put transsexuals and all kind of freaks and little boys, people half naked, and you know what it was all about? Pushing this agenda at the Olympics. I mean, I know when I used to watch All in the Family and Archie Bunker was kind of bigoted and he had said things that were ignorant, but, you know, it revealed what many in white America thought like. But one thing I'll agree with him, the one line that he said, girls were girls when men were men. Even back then, it wasn't ignorant when he said that. Archie Bunker saw the future. Now we know he was an actor playing a role. Let's make like he was real. And even the wife, everybody pulled his weight. Everybody pulled his weight. And look at us in America who have been working for so long, not getting the promotions that we deserve, training people who later on become our supervisors who don't look like us, in the nepotism. But everybody pulled their weight. But have they? When you have stolen land, blood soaked with the blood of our ancestors, and free labor, you're supposed to do good if you have no rent to pay, and you have free workers for hundreds of years. You're supposed to be so-called great. That's not great. You got it, but you're still benefiting from it, and you're arrogant about it. And this is why you sinking like the Titanic. Ain't that something? And those of us who are whipped into submission are supposed to feel so bad. And massa, is we sick? Massa, is we sinking? And if we clap to see that system that has demonized us and worked us from can't see morning to can't see night, we supposed to feel good or feel bad that is sinking? No, get off and get out of the ship. And if you have to stay on the ship, stay on the part that's going down last and get on one of those life rafts and wear a life jacket. There's always a way out. But the 80% of the empty people, they are not going to understand that. And the 10% of demons, they're going to keep whispering in your ear, you should go a different way. And the only resistance that these 80% have is to resist you who knocked them out of the spell. Who wants to realize that they've been in a spell? When a spell is euphoric, the promises are there. Like that man who only wants one thing from a woman, and he says, baby, you know I'm going to love you. I'm always going to be with you. I'm never going to cheat on you or bring you a disease at home or make a baby on you with a woman outside. It's going to be me and you, and I'm going to work hard and bring you all the money. And you keep talking like that and take the woman to dinner. You know, when you go through the toll booth and you have the little, they call it different things in different states in America. They call it the E-Pass or the Easy Pass or whatever they call it in your state. And those who listen to this, I'd like to know what state you live in and what they call it. But when you go close to the toll divider, that little arm, and its senses and its mechanism that you have the E-Pass taped up to your windshield, the thing opens up so easy. So if you keep speaking to the woman this way, certain things open up real easy. And we understand what that is in a decent way. So with these people who are so full of promises in their head, they don't want that illusion broken. You know that man don't mean that. He's got 3 other women cross town. The man's already married. He's got a bunch of babies, and we hear he's loaded with STDs. You don't want to hear that. You don't want the illusion broken. Now, do you? Let's go over this again. I got to say it again. They are neither good or evil. They are just empty. But they are the majority who seemingly vote for things like this and accept things like this in the Olympics. Now, what did I want to say about womanhood? We are becoming desensitized. There should be an uproar and there should be an outrage on what we saw in the Olympics, and there needs to be an investigation. It needs to be an investigation to find out how they're not questioning this or digging deeper with what's so obvious to the naked eye. So we get desensitized on that. We already know that there are women across the world that are being abused physically right now, mentally and emotionally. And oftentimes, I'm not minimizing the physical abuse, but the mental and emotional can cut deeper after the wounds are healed physically. So we got to be careful, because that same evil entity that hates nature and hates the Creator for the gifts that he's given us so abundantly, he hates all of it. And the analogy, I'm going to speak about Christmas. I'm not saying I'm going for all of the commercial stuff, but it's like that little kid who lives across the street from a family who all the kids got all the Christmas presents that they ever wanted and more. And Christmas morning, you could hear them just thanking the parents and thanking Santa Claus. I'm not saying I believe in that now, right? And they didn't get anything. So they're sitting there looking out the window. They're mad at their parents. Santa didn't come to their house. And it's funny how the same words that spell out Santa is Satan, a man in a red suit. But we all understand that part of it. But that entity hates the gifts that we are given. The land that doesn't have any boundaries or borders on it until somebody came and carved that out. Changing the languages and having us speaking all different tongues. Don't want to see us unified. Hating how we honor our women when they were up in the caves and hills of you know where, beating their women and going along with each other. Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Roman Empire. But what were the Greeks known for? They seemed to prefer little boys over real women. And we know if you saw a movie like Caligula and look back on the Roman situations and how they carried on, they quell it now. They kind of put it to the side now. But they want to make us think that they're the ones who are the philosophers and the inventors of everything, when they couldn't keep their behinds out of Timbuktu in Africa. And like Gil Scott-Heron said in one of his presentations, poetry, you see, they conveniently moved Egypt into the Middle East. And what they do, they bring other people to kind of whitewash us out over time. Just the same way they're doing in America right now. And maybe some of them might be melanated or have African Alkebulan blood inside of them. But they're bringing these people in, and it's a gross disgrace, a smack in the face of those Africans who built the country and who worked these jobs, even oftentimes when they don't believe in the system all the way. They say, hey, I've been working all these decades, all from late teens, 20s, 30s, 40s. I'm 50, into my 50s now. I'm in my 60s now. And some people are damn near 70. You got to turn around and go back and work because a little social security they get is not enough. But we're supposed to believe in this system and follow through on the promises of dead presidents. And I'm not talking about money, but presidents who came a while back and now they're gone. They have theirs, but we still don't have ours. Many a time we're trying to concern ourselves about how we're going to pay our bills. We're retired off of good jobs and still have to scratch. But yet these people come into the country, and certain people that are wearing the horns on this banner don't have a problem with it. Ain't that something? It's crazy. And let me finish this up. But people think they are people. So the 10% of us who are humans think the rest of the people are going along with it. But they are soulless bodies going along with it while the evil people orchestrate it all. This is what was revealed in that spooky dream. And we're generally not a dreamer, right? Let's get down to the facts. Many people say, these are the facts. You can take it as a pro-Trump thing, an anti-Kamala thing, or whatever. But let's talk truth for now, right? People forget that Donald Trump was in office for 4 years. And the things that he's accused of wanting to do, did he do it? I saw a short clip. I don't recall if it was on Twitter, Instagram. You know, I got it all. And it comes at me rapid fire. And I'm sorry sometimes when people send me things and I don't get a chance to respond directly to you because a lot comes at me. A lot goes in planning this show. And I didn't even do everything that I usually do with the show. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to have to go back and write a little something, and I'll share these words that I'm reading and distribute it more and put it on the site. You won't see it on the site tonight. Brother man is tired, but I will correct that by tomorrow. Okay? But that's what it's all about. Let's talk some truth. The border crisis, with a flood of illegal immigrants getting all kinds of financial support that Black people or other American citizens are not getting. Who's responsible for that? When they called Trump a crazy man for wanting to build a wall. And again, I may not sign off on every single thing he said, but he was the president of the United States. And even if he doesn't win and this election is stolen, you can't take away the fact that he was the president of the United States and he wasn't responsible for this border crisis. Can I ask you all something? Who is responsible? What presidency is responsible for the border crisis with all of these floods of illegal immigrants coming here, pushing us out the way, being housed when we have, and I'm not even just going to say Black people. What about the vets, the veterans who are living under overpasses, who are living in the street, who have mental issues because of what they saw in war, who have emotional issues that they came back and realized they don't have any family that can help them? All praise is due to the families that can help the veterans when they come back, because they're thrown away like a snotty old rag. They're thrown away like a piece of tissue you wipe yourself with. They're thrown away. No, I won't say anything about a woman's monthly, but you get the picture. Thrown away. And those of us who believe the dream that we'll get paid and have our pensions and have our Social Security, and if we work hard enough, realize a dollar can be pulled from under our feet because it's diminishing. Joe Biden seems to be in his time in, I don't even know if he might remember his time in, with his stuttering, tripping self. He seems hell-bent on going the way of war. Donald Trump was more about the finances and boosting the economy as opposed to draining down the resources of our financial world with war. Here it is again. Is Donald Trump responsible for this? The push for transgenderism and men fighting women like in the Olympics, down to men going into women's bathrooms. And here she is, Kamala, and it was a clip. I'll try to find it and play it, but many of you saw it, talking proudly about it, yet she said she's going to do nothing for black people, and she said it out of her own mouth. Are y'all zombies? You got people saying, I'd rather vote for her than vote for Donald Trump. The economy is worse than ever, probably worse than in history, because of the Democrats, Biden and Kamala. Gas is $7 in many places. Food prices have quadrupled just since they've been in office. A few groceries is over $100. Real estate and rent is through the roof, astronomically high. Do you think that those in their 20s coming into the job market and even making good money in their career, both husband and wife, worse if you're single, you better really be making some money if you think you're going to have the so-called American dream to buy a house. That's the backbone of the American dream. Having a good job, buying your own house, creating wonderful memories as you have children that you can afford, growing older with the one you love, having a house to leave for those children, even when they get older and get their own and go off to college, if that's the path that they choose. You tell me, with this American dream, and I've asked this question for years, how many people get to live that so-called American dream? How many? And while they're not living it, how many still have it in their head that, yeah, maybe next year, or we can do this and we can do that? Have you ever run after a bus that you've missed? Here you all coming down your own personal street and you go into the main road and you see the bus stop. And at first you don't look to run. You're like, that's too far, but it's still there. And you see in the window in the store next to it a reflection of all the people who are getting on. And you say, hey, I got a chance. And you run and you run and you run and you get closer to the bus. But guess what? The bus starts to pull off, but you still run in the hopes that something happens to make that bus stop. And you get to the corner and you see that bus stopping at the next bus stop 2 blocks down. Do you still run or do you give up? And many are not giving up because of the propaganda of that carrot dangling in your face, where you're told that you can do it, you can make it, you can do it, while you slave on these jobs where you don't make anything but the people up top do. And they tell the newbies that come in, if you do right, we can make you a manager, we can make you a department head, we can put you up high. But in the job scam called, it's a pyramid scheme, a pyramid hustle called job. The way they talk it, it would be nothing on the bottom and the widest part up top. That would be top heavy and it would fall. But it's a pyramid scheme. It's wide on the bottom. And the higher up you go, it gets narrower and narrower. So you got to keep more people on the bottom. But we can't see that. You got to give people less than what they deserve and keep stringing them along. Well, we can give you a 25-cent raise right now, and you're doing pretty good, but we do notice that you need improvement in this area. It's always going to be that way. But when they do their own, you got to keep this between you and me. We can't let everybody know what you're making because it would cause panic and chaos in the company. Worse now because you have social media. People can talk. But what part of the American dream are we living without suffering? Isn't it supposed to get easier? But it's not for most people, right? When Trump was in office, he said, you can take the jab. I'm going to say it now because I'm going to say some things in a coded way. If you want, or you don't have to. As soon as Biden got in office, it became a mandate. And people lost their jobs and their livelihoods or were forced to take these things, jabs, and many died, including many of our families. And we all have friends who almost transitioned, have heart problems. They are the dictators, and they are planning other pandemics and trying to force people to take these jabs. Trump didn't even wear masks and said people don't have to. He refused to wear masks during this time and said he would not force anyone to take those jabs. It was the demonic Democrats who did that, and people have already forgotten. Already forgotten. Are they spraying something in the air for us to not have a memory? We're like that person who has a fling or some kind of affair where they bring us diseases, treat us bad, cheat on us, but yet we keep taking them back. What's wrong with you? I'm not seeing anybody here in the chat room, right? It's crazy. When Trump was in office, he pardoned a lot of black people, and he also gave a lot of money to small black businesses, and he bailed out all the HBCUs, black colleges. This is on record. His staff also has American African and women. I say American Africans because we don't walk around calling ourselves like, let's look at some of the names in the chat room here. Okay, Renee Green. We don't say hi, Green Renee. We don't say hi, Sunday Gifty. We don't say that. The family name comes last. Oh, Diane, welcome on in. I didn't see, I've been running my mouth. Now, when I see your name, Diana, although it's not spelled the common way with the I and it's the Y, do you remember the commercial? And I don't know if it was just a New York thing. I think it was just a New York thing. And this woman, Diane, had a hair salon, or she did something with weaves or whatever. I'm not knocking weaves, I'm just saying. And every time they showed somebody who had their hair done, they would say, "Oh, Diane, oh, Diane." Anybody here, like that was in New York City when I was growing up there and living there. So I don't know if it was all over the country, if that was a local thing, but that's what that reminds me of. Anytime I see someone with the name Diane. Here it is. He's not pushing this trans agenda like they are. He is pro-nuclear family and calls himself a Christian. So we know he says things that he may not be that in the fullest manifestation of the word, but how many who call themselves Christians are? You see on YouTube the pastors that are doing things they shouldn't be doing. You see some of the churches in the motherland where they make the women strip and they have to lay hands on them and whatever, the crazy twisted things we do in the name of religion. But he is pro-nuclear family. So are you pro-family when you are going along with the elitist agenda? That you can say that children don't have to identify as what they're born with, that children have the right to go ahead and take substances and change their sex? Is that pro-family? I mean, the world I come from, it's not pro-family. But these people who are under the spells of the Demon-Cratics, they will look you dead in the eye and say, "Oh, no, no. I would rather take her over than Trump," who didn't do the things that are lies that people put out about him. See, when Trump got into politics, see, Judge Joe Brown, who I haven't spoken to in a while, I'm going to reach out to him, but I see he's a very busy man. So one day we'll have him back on the show like we had before. But he was basically saying what I already know. I never met Donald Trump. I worked a job 2 blocks down from where the Trump Tower is when I worked at Bijan's Boutique, Bijan. Look it up. I worked there for a year back in 1984. So I made many connections in that area. Not that I knew anybody like on the Trump scale, but I ran around with different people and different jobs that I've had. And around that time, nobody was knocking him. You know, when Mike Tyson was coming up, they were bosom buddies. And from what I hear Joe Brown say, Judge Joe Brown, he was always around the brothers. They loved him. Never had a problem saying these things. But when you're not part of the establishment and not connected to the elite agenda, and you got your own money, they got to smear you. I'm just naming facts. We never had a problem with Donald Trump in New York City, right? And there were things that were put out there about him, right? And they had the Central Park 5 and a lot of stuff put out there about him. And he did put out a full page ad. Yes, I remember that. And I was very angry with him at that time. But they have been exonerated. And a lot of twisted things have gone on at that time. Yes, it has. And New York City has its share of corruption. Oh, God. What's the pastor's name? Is it Pastor Timms? Zachary Timms, yes. His church was a stone's throw away from where I lived. And we already knew his background. We already knew that he was in the drug trade in Maryland. And the pastor over his sister church in Texas, the one who brought him into the ministry, gave me a call and wanted me to put out certain facts about him and his upbringing, not to smear him, but to defend him in many ways. He called me. I couldn't believe it. And he had followed me for a long time. So he felt confident that I would put out the story about him. And the funny thing about it was that was an orchestrated hit. It goes back to, what's the woman there? Paula White. See, religion can be dirty. And it is often marred by the desires and lustful desires of men and women who see that they can get rich off of this hustle. In their mind, it is. And so when Pastor Zachary Timms, I forgot the name of the hotel. It was one of the best, biggest hotels in New York. But I wasn't living there at the time. I was in Orlando. When I was living there, this hotel wasn't in existence, but it had high security cameras everywhere. And they said that they found him in his room with a powdery white substance. So he had cocaine issues before. He had impregnated a woman who was a member of the church who was a former stripper. And there are other things that I heard directly living really a stone's throw away, maybe a mile away from the church and the people that lived in the neighborhood. See, I've been around on a lot of different levels, but I know when to talk and I know when not to. But how is it that you can die in a hotel room and you're a high profile preacher? In New York City, you die. You're from Orlando, but you die in New York City. Where's the investigation? What happened with the police? Now, you know, in New York City, they can pretty much find anything, accomplish anything when they want to get you. But what happened? And there's a lot of things that I know from what that pastor told me that I promised I would never say. But I'll say this. It's a dirty world out here we're living in. And there's not much difference between the religions and the politics because humans are involved, you see? And all those who look like human, as we said, are not human, you know? The other day, he did that interview with the Association of Black Journalists, and today, or that day when this was written, he met with several Black businessmen in Atlanta to ask them what he can do for them. But they don't broadcast that. See, they control the media and certain things you don't get. So you're mentally malnourished as to the full scope of the facts of what's going on both sides. Kamala or Biden never did that. Yet Biden said, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. And Kamala had Megan Thee Stallion performing at her rally for black people. What a damn insult. That on a lower vibration, you can get an entertainer who her lane is basically whorish antics. Another way of bringing us down and our sisters, making the world see us as playthings and we eat it up. Those who attended that thing, I'm sorry if you were there, but I got a question. How you could see this and stay there and skin and grin in support of a woman who'll say they will never do anything for black people, but has a record of speaking on so many different levels about what they're going to do for everybody else. Trump actually pulled us out of every war, and he pulled troops out of war zones. He doesn't like war, and he said he would solve the problem in the Middle East as well and stop the fighting. While he was in office, and even before and after, he talked to Russia and China, and the Democrats criticized him for trying to make peace with them. He's all about the economy and not war. That's why he wants to make America great again. And again, for us, America was never really great, but if we can make it better, not go back to what people say that, oh, he wants to put us back in slavery. He wants to, and I do have an issue with blindly following the whole wording of Make America Great Again, because it was never great for us. We understand that. But we have to love that slogan in comparison to what Kamala Harris represents. You see what I mean? He wants to make America great again, and they are angry. Although black people never had it great in America, at least the rest of the population and humanity was not subject to medical dictatorship, and now they are on course trying to take away money and all of our rights. Yet these dumb women mad at him because somebody took away the federal involvement in abortion and left it to the states. They say he's a dictator. He did not ban abortion, and neither did the Senate. They reversed Roe versus Wade and turned the decision over to the state where abortion will be legal in every state. The Democrats and Kamala are anti-family values. They are anti-democracy based on their policies and track record. They're literally trying to destroy the planet and make us all eat bugs. Their track record, their policies, their track record. Are you going to invite somebody over to your home who's known for stealing? Are you going to go on vacation and give your keys to a crackhead thief and say, look after my house while I'm gone for the next 2 months? You're going to come back to nothing. Policies, track record, policies, track record. What about that? War. And who suffers the most? It's our children going to the front lines. Some willingly go and look for opportunity, but most don't. And yeah, they want to cause all of these wars and make a draft where they really reduce our population while the illegal immigrants get to enjoy everything that you work for. So I just want these few things to sink in. I'm not going to stay long. What I'm going to do, as I always do, I'm going to drop the link because I'm a little tired. And again, I'm not going to forget to do the show on monitoring spirits. And if I do 2, that will be one of them. But that will be the premiere one that we do tomorrow. And I can't give you time because Brother Man's going to sleep late. And since I'm 4 hours ahead of the East Coast, I'm not going to sit there and do it 10 o'clock in the morning at 6 o'clock for you. I want to do it as late as I can so we can have more people come in. But if anybody wants to say anything and come on in, I just posted the link and you can feel free to come on in. So just let me know. I'll tarry a bit in this church service. We're going to tarry for a bit. And I'm going to wait to see if anybody wants to come in. But what I want you to do is always leave your comments. And I didn't make a particular blog post on this video. I will in the morning when I wake up. But I prefer for you to leave your comments on any corresponding blog post on Lancescurv.com. And I'll let every comment stay. I won't take any comments off. There's certain words that are blocked that won't get through on YouTube because we did it ahead of time. I get a lot of scathing comments. I'm not scared to, I'm not going to give it energy. If people are butthurt and angry and realize their little spell casting didn't work, I got, hey, like I said, it ain't hurting me none. I'm going to say it that way. It ain't hurting me none. Oh, no. And they know that. But that's frustration. And that's how we as Black people, melanated people, African people, Alkebulan people, scattered all over the world, if we allow our minds to stay open to this filth and get away from family values and get away from unity, because too many of us are seeing the same thing differently, and we don't understand. We don't understand that that's giving them an opportunity to destroy us and wipe us off the face of the earth. We're going around calling Kamala Harris black. Ain't nothing black about her. We running behind trying to prove to people that, not realizing she's an Indian woman who can't stand Black people. But anybody who can masquerade, see, this is the age of masquerading. If a man can look like a woman or try to look like a woman, he has the right to go into a woman's bathroom. And who knows what's on his mind while other women are there, not other because he's one, but just women in general. So they can mind screw us over. And we running around, oh, it doesn't even matter if she's not black. But they're lying about it, and she lies about it. So you want a liar as a leader? Black people, you got to do better than that. You jumping from the pan right into the fire and think that these manipulations of your mind that feel good to you because she gets there, girl, yeah. Oh, she must be black. She went to a black college, so she must be black. If I go to a Catholic church and use the woman's bathroom because the man's bathroom, the plumbing is all messed up and they say it's okay to go in there, does that make me a Catholic nun? This is the age of delusion and illusion. And we tripping worse than anybody who took LSD. We're all on a trip. Like I say, I just can't believe the Twilight Zone bizarro world that we live in. What the heck is going on? I'm hearing the theme from the Twilight Zone every time I look at the news, which I know when you look at the news, you have to look at it with a filter on your brain. You can't open up your mind. You got to question everything. But the majority of us were going to catch the most hell if Kamala Harris wins for her regime and dictatorship. You talk about Donald Trump with a dictatorship. Did he do that when he was actually a president? Who is Kamala Harris and what has she done? I can't even sing the Janet Jackson song for her. What have you done for me lately? Lately, what have you done for us at all? Indian senator, but now she's a vice president that's going to run for presidency. Twisted. And you're right, sweet D. Kamala got some people bamboozled. That's the absolute truth. And I'm sorry for missing some of the comments to post it up because it makes it interesting for people who don't really get into the chat room. But I was in my zone. I can see, well, we might be taking a break from comments coming in. It's okay because we're going to be back tomorrow. I won't be as tired tomorrow. My voice is getting crackly and my throat is getting dry. But I think for the last hour and 4 minutes, I expressed myself properly. And I hope people understand where I'm coming from. I think I made it clear. But then again, the 80% that have no soul, they're going to come after us for this. And it's going to be sad if she wins and all hell break loose and people are going to be suffering even more. A woman who says she's not doing anything for Black people, but they'll do things for everybody else. And you still want to vote for that? One who has no track record? One who wants to push the anti-family values of pushing the transgenderism? Aligned with those Satan worshipers those witches. You can dress it up any kind of way you want. You see, when you see a prostitute in the street, working the street, and you see that extra short mini skirt and that plunging neckline, you know what it is. But in corporate America, there are many women who go in trench coats and nice high heels, and they're dressed properly, and they ain't got nothing on up under that trench coat when they get in the office with that CEO. But you think it's a corporate entity. It's deception. You know her history. Montel Williams on up, whoever else knows. I know her knees are ashy, and you know why. What was she looking for? You use people as a stepping stone. See? So you're voting for a thought, and you know what a thought stands for. And if you don't know, ask me in the comment section, and I'll tell you. But the bottom line is, we have been severely FUCK'd. The empty, soulless people will go whichever way the wind blows, but there's something worse going on. It's a mass spell casting going on by the witchery of the world and the occultists that are part of the elite agenda and what they do. And people say, oh, that can't be. You mean there's no evil in the world that wants to destroy us as people who honor the Most High? This is a war. It's not just a war with bombs. It's a war to destroy the gift of life that we've been given so abundantly and oftentimes don't even realize it. I'm going to wrap this up right now. I just want to let you know I care for you all very much. I do this out of my heart. I ain't trying to be famous. I ain't trying to make no money off nobody. Bottom line, when you donate, it helps the platform because there are things that I'm still in the system and I still got to pay for, right? That helps. But first and foremost, this will always be done as long as I can draw breath and have health and have life. That's my purpose. And I just want to say, never forget your purpose. Your purpose may be large and very visible to the masses, or your purpose can be something unseen, but it doesn't mean it's any less. And I'm going to use this analogy again. I'm going to say it real quick. You see that beautiful Rolex, or even a little Mickey Mouse watch that you have the second and the hour and the minute hand, and we give credit to the faceplate because it looks so pretty, not realizing that behind the scenes on that watch, there's many tiny specific gears that keeps the second hand and the minute hand and the hour hand working precisely. So if you remove one of those gears, the watch won't work. So if you're behind the faceplate, unseen in your mission, don't feel that you're unappreciated, especially when you're necessary. From every person that cleans a toilet or sweeps the floor, right? Brother Bowles is coming on in. We wrapping it on up, but drop a few minutes of some words because Brother Man's going to sleep. Talk to me, brother.
Hey, Brother Lance, I'm sorry. I just couldn't let you go to sleep. I know you're tired. I know you're working hard. And hey, brother, I take my hat off to you. But I had to say something. I mean, first of all, brothers and sisters, if you all are enjoying this podcast as much as I am, please select the like button. Uh-oh. There's my battery. Yeah. But please select the like button. Thank you, Brother Lance.
The floor is yours, brother. Go ahead. I know you're bringing something, so go ahead. Brother Bowles. Oh, that's that battery. You're still on though, brother. I can see you. I can see the box. I can't see you personally, but maybe if you plug the phone in a little bit. I see you, brother. And if you don't make it back on or make the connection, we'll do something as an addendum to this particular show. It'll be Brother Bowles taking the floor. We'll continue this on. But if you can hear me, okay, he fell off. Let's give it a few minutes for him to come on. Because actually, I am going to jump right into bed after this is over. It's 1:25 a.m. I jumped up early this morning from about 7 a.m. and I've been going hard ever since. You never hear me complain about that. And I'm not complaining because I actually like righteous fatigue when I earned it, when I did what I had to do on my mission for the day, incrementally. But I would not fall asleep and not do this show today and express myself. So I appreciate all of you being here. Let me go back and look at the comment section. But Brother Bowles, if you can hear me, if you're on the computer or whatever, your phone's not charged up, I'm going to wrap it down now. And I'm going to allow you time to come back and speak. And I'll be rested. I'm not leaving the house tomorrow. I just got to wash some clothes and do some things, you know, and follow the dictates of what Mrs. Scurv wants to do. She will be back on. Yeah, she's just really focused on things because it's a lot that we're doing. And again, I will show soon a lot. And the studio is being worked on. And the next phase of it is coming. I'm going to try to drop a video in, should I say the community section? Just as a tease to show what's going on. And we're coming back, not even coming back, we never left. We're going to ascend better than ever before. And I just want people to understand that. Boy, we've been through a lot, but I don't complain about that. And I've been running my mouth to keep things going. I'm going to add Brother Bowles back on in. Come on in, brother. Give me a couple minutes before I sign off. You're back. Let me hear you. I see you, Brother Bowles, but I can't, for some reason, hear you. You came back on. I'm going to give you a
Brother
few
Lance.
to fiddle with. Good, you're back on in. Talk to me, man, before it cuts off.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
You let me know.
I'm sorry, Lance, go ahead.
No, I was saying the floor is yours. Talk your heart out, and you know when you're done, and then we'll wrap it down.
Yes, sir. Again, everyone, if you are enjoying this podcast as much as I am, please select the like button. You know, Brother Lance, you basically nailed it, brother. You nailed it. We have become a society of who's right instead of what's right. I've noticed a trend. I'm no lover. I'm no lover of Donald Trump.
Enlighten me, so it's not like this is all me. What you see me as, there are many people who have fed into me from single digit up into the present. So I can't take credit on the ascension they helped me to have. You see what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, but go ahead, brother.
Well, we are as brothers. We are all the sum total of our past experiences, positive as well as negative. You see, we're the sum total of that. But I just wanted to say that no, brother, this is a very serious thing. I'm no big supporter of Donald Trump. I'm not a Trump fan. But I see a trend. I see something happening here where for the Democrats are trying to muddy up the waters of Donald Trump and his past of truth or fiction, but they are trying not to deal with Kamala Harris's past. My local radio station, they were talking about calling her a black woman. I said, she's not a black woman. Is she a non-white person? Yes. But she grew up as a Brahmin Indian. She grew up as a Brahmin Indian. And you know the whole thing about that caste system in India, and the Brahmins are the ones who are at the top, coming from the word brain, or their god Brahma. So this is they don't want to deal with Kevin Cooper, when the brother that was on death row in her office blocked the evidence from the governor of the state of California, who says, man, I can't execute this, man, I need more information. And her office held it up when she was the attorney for the state. She held that information up. The prosecutor, she held it up, her office. An innocent black man was going to be executed. But this information never comes up, you know?
Exactly.
It never comes up. They do not. That's the strategy, I believe, Brother Lance, dear listeners. They do not want to talk about her past. And this woman was a career prosecutor, just like Judge Joe Brown said. She don't know anything about helping people. And everything, her thing is punishment, punishing. She don't know anything about helping low-income families, helping people who are struggling to try to get in college, to be the first generation of their families to get into college in the state of California. She don't know anything about helping people like that. Extending people the benefits that we all received after the creation of the Roosevelt administration and New Deal. She rather destroy that. And you already hit on the LGBTQ pandemic. Her support of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Trump. I don't know anything much about his personal life, but at least we do know one thing: he doesn't necessarily have a history of fooling around with men.
There you go.
And he's, you know, I mean, I can't condone a man cheating on his wife. I mean, come on. However, but we do know he's into women, and he's being punished for that. So no, brother, you know, brother, excellent podcast.
Thank you so much.
There's so much I could cover, but you know, it's late. I know it's late.
Oh no, I'm good. But you know, we gonna bang them out tomorrow. We're gonna bang them out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That's my mission. A little chores to do, and we're gonna bang it out tomorrow. And the corresponding article that goes with this particular blog, which I'll share these words on it. I'll do it in the morning, and I'm just after this, I'm gonna hit the sack because I got a lot done today, and I was all over today. I was all over, man. Yeah. You know, when I go out, it's like I'm on a mission. And I got a lot of stuff. I still have things to do here tomorrow, but I'll be home and easy for me to do so. Everything is happening phenomenal here, and I'm happy and centered because, like I said, I want to. I don't want to say the word die, but like the pastor there. Oh God, what is his name? And I always love him. He passed away. He says to die empty, meaning that. Whatever's in you to serve your people and serve the world, even if I'm not here behind the faceplate. Remember, I was online for years before YouTube came to. Nobody saw my face. I used to draw little pictures, write articles. There was a little tiny thumbnail that you couldn't see, that if you expanded it, it broke up in funny little pixelated, you know. So I can get into the other things and still do this and have 100% time to focus. And the goal is not to have 5 million subscribers and to be famous. No. I'm enjoying myself. It's the joy of the process and to be there to help whichever way. And just like Gifty said, to be the delivery man for this stuff. The delivery, look, when you use Uber Eats, the guy who delivered the food didn't make the food. He just delivered the food. So I'm happy to be the driver. You see? So I'm not saying it's me. Yes, we have to put a name out there, Lancescurv, and the graphics and all this stuff like that. But that's what people are attracted to. Let them be attracted to that and hear something different than the zombies that are out there echoing certain points. And the people that have a mind of their own. We used to see in the Black community men, and I'm not saying the women didn't speak, but the men who debated about things, the points they brought up was so interesting because both sides had a strong point. And it was for you to use your mind to figure out. Now we don't do that anymore. The barbershop conversations are decadent and foolish now. It used to be highly intellectual. My father would bring me to get my hair cut. I used to love being there. I hated to leave. But now, what do we talk about now? Hey, man, Megan Thee Stallion, oh, man, that backside she got. Oh, man. We're men. We haven't controlled a bad boy. Yeah. We like what we like, but we're wrong for liking what we like as straight Black family men. That's the attack. Man and true womanhood. Right. Confusing and blurring the lines. Listen, I'm getting hyped. I don't want to get a second win because I'm going to pay for it in the morning. But brother, you for coming on. You
Yes,
and
sir. Thank
everybody
you.
else are always welcome. And we're going to keep doing this on a higher level. And, you know, whenever you get the witchery out of your system and away from you, things go higher. So I'm loving
Yes,
this,
sir.
and I'm loving this film. It's an ascension that I welcome with open arms. And I want to thank Miles Monroe. Yes, Miles Monroe. Miles Monroe. Yes, I love that man. I met him in Orlando, Florida, and he was speaking at the juvenile detention center. And I don't know how I ended up there to, you know, I worked in corrections, but I didn't know. Somebody invited us, so we should pass through. I didn't know who Miles Monroe was. He was sitting, they had the chairs out, and maybe 3 rows were ahead of me, 3 or 4 rows. Locked eyes a couple of times because, you know, when they're talking, they scan the audience and stuff. And I was so captivated by his words, and I started to follow him, you know, around here and there, and didn't realize how big he was, but he was a servant. He put the work in. I think he wrote like 69 books, and he didn't hide from any topic. Even if you're not a Christian or somebody, the logic in what he spoke. You know what I mean? So I always loved that man, and I'll never turn my back on him. I even did a video, man. In the middle of the video, I broke down crying. I ain't hiding. I'm still a man. I'm still strong. But we love who we love. And any man or woman, and I'm talking righteously, not no homo business or womanizing stuff. I love you if you're about the real thing, in the past, present, and future. So this way we can stay in communication, and we're across multiple platforms. So when YouTube tries to get funky, we're everywhere else, and we do things different because they snatched them almost 6,000 videos that I had before. But we're going to bring most of them back somehow, some way, because we do have access to it otherwise. So you got to move smart. Brother Bowles, thank you for coming on in. Everybody
brother, thank you, brother.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Keep coming. Talk to me, brother.
No, I was going to say, brother, just thank you, brother. You know, thank you. Because, like, you know, this old saying, anything that can be built by a man can be destroyed by a man. All we need is the truth. Because when the truth comes, falsehood vanishes.
Oh, yes.
And that's all we need, just truth. You know, you have an intelligent listening audience. They can figure it out. They may have challenges, and they may not necessarily know all the information. But once you put it out there, you give them something that can resonate and percolate on their minds. So, brother, I just want to say thank you, brother, for what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you and everybody else for feeding into the past, present, and future. You know?
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. And everybody here,
all right, brother.
Thank you so much. And we're coming back tomorrow. Peace.